The Quality by John Galsworthy, written in 1912. John Galsworthy was born on 14th August 1865 in United Kingdom. He was a novelist and a playwright and won Nobel Prize in English Literature in 1932. His notable works include The Forsyte Saga, a modern comedy, and The End of the Chapter. The Quality was first published in a book called The Inn of Tranquility. I knew him from the days of my extreme youth because he made my father's boots. He lived with his elder brother in his shop, which was in a small by street in a fashionable part of London. The shop had a certain quiet distinction. There was no sign upon it other than the name of Gessler Brothers, and in the window a few pairs of boots. He made only what was ordered, and what he made never failed to fit. To make such boots as he made seemed to me and still seems to me mysterious and wonderful. I remember well my shy remarks one day while stretching out to him my youthful foot. Isn't it awful hard to do, Mr. Gessler? And his answer, given with a sudden smile from out of his red beard.
It is an art.
It was not possible to go to him very often. His boots lasted terribly, having something beyond the temporary, some essence of boot stitched into them. One went in not as into most shops, but as fully as one enters a church and sitting on the single wooden chair, waiting. A little guttural sound and the tip tap of his slippers beating the narrow wooden stairs, and he would stand before one with a coat a little bent in a leather apron with sleeves turned back, blinking as if awakened from some dream of boots. And I would say, how do you do, Mr. Gessler? Could you make me a pair of Russian leather boots? Without a word, he would leave me, retiring whence he came or into the other portion of the shop, and I would continue to rest in the wooden chair, inhaling the incense of his trade. Soon he would come back, holding in his hand a piece of gold brown leather. With his eyes fixed on it, he would remark,
What a beautiful piece. Oh, when do you want them?
and I would answer, "Oh, as soon as you conveniently can." And he would say, "Tomorrow fortnight." Then I would murmur, "Thank you, Mr. Gessler." He would be still looking at his leather in his hand, and as I moved to the door, I would hear the tip tap of his slippers going up to the stairs. And then he would resume his dream of boots. I cannot forget that day on which I had occasion to say to him, "Mr. Gessler, the last pair of boots creaked, you know." He looked at me for a time without replying, as if expecting me to withdraw or qualify the statement. Then he said,
It shouldn't have creaked.
"It did, I'm afraid."
You got them wet before they found themselves.
"I don't think so." At that, he lowered his eyes as if hunting memory for those boots, and I felt sorry for that I had mentioned this grave thing.
Send them back, I will look at them. Some boots are bad from birth. If I can do nothing with them, I will fake them off your bill.
Once and once only, I went absent-mindedly into his shop in a pair of boots bought in an emergency at some large firm. He took my order without showing me any leather, and I could feel his eyes penetrating the inferior covering of my foot. He at last said,
Those are not my boots.
the tone was not one of anger, nor of sorrow, not even of contempt, but there was in something quiet that froze the blood. He put his hand down and pressed a finger on the place where the left boot was not quite comfortable.
It hurts you there. Those big films have no self respect.
And then, as if something has given way within him, he spoke long and bitterly. It was the only time I ever heard him discuss the conditions and the hardships of his trade.
They get it all by advertisement, not by work. They take it away from us who love our boots. It comes to this presently, I have not work. Every year it gets less.
And at looking at his lined face, I saw things I had never noticed before. Bitter things and bitter struggle, and what a lot of grey hairs there seemed suddenly in his red beard. As best as I could, I explained the circumstance of those ill omened boots. But his face and voice made so deep an impression that during the next few minutes I ordered many pairs. They lasted longer than ever, and I was not able to go to him for nearly 2 years. Well, it was many months before my next visit to his shop. This time it appeared to be his elder brother. Well, Mr. Gessler, I said, how are you? He came close and peered at me.
I am pretty well, but my brother is dead.
And I saw that it was indeed himself, but how aged and worn, and never before I had heard him mentioning his elder brother. Much shocked, I murmured, oh, I'm sorry. And he touched the top of his head where the hair had suddenly gone as thin as it had been on that of his poor elder brother to indicate, I suppose, the cause of his death.
Do you want any boots?
I ordered several pairs of boots. It was very long before they came, but they were better than ever. One simply could not wear them out. And soon after that, I went abroad. It was over a year before I was again in London, and the first shop I went to was my old friend's. I had left a man of 60. I came back to one of 75, pinched and worn, who genuinely at this time did not at first know me.
I am pretty well, but my brother is dead.
And I saw that it was indeed himself, but how aged and worn, and never before I had heard him mentioning his elder brother. Much shocked, I murmured, oh, I'm sorry. And he touched the top of his head where the hair had suddenly gone as thin as it had been on that of his poor elder brother to indicate, I suppose, the cause of his death.
Do you want any boots?
I ordered several pairs of boots. It was very long before they came, but they were better than ever. One simply could not wear them out. I had given those boots up when one evening they came. One by one I tried them on in shape and fit, in finish and quality of leather. They were the best he ever made. I flew downstairs, wrote a check and posted it at once with my own hand. A week later, passing the little street, I thought I would go in and tell him how splendidly the new boots fitted. But when I came to where his shop had been, his name was gone. I was in very much disturbed. In the shop, there was a young man with an English face.
No, sir. He said no, but we can't attend to anything with pleasure. We have taken the shop over.
Yes, yes, I said. But Mr. Gessler,
Oh, dead.
dead? But I received these boots from him last Wednesday week.
Ah, he said. Poor old man, starved himself. Slow starvation, the doctor called it. You see, he went to work in such a way would keep the shopkeeper on. Would it have a soul touch his boot except himself? When he got an order, it took him such a time, people won't wait. He lost everybody, and there he had sit going on and on. I will say that for him, not a man in London made a better boot. But look at the competition. He never advertised would have the best leather too and do it all himself. Well, there is it is. What could you expect with these ideas?
But starvation?
That may be a bit flowery, as the saying is, but I know myself he was sitting over his boots a day and night to the very last you see. I used to watch him, never gave himself time to eat, never had a penny in the house. All went in rent and leather. How he lived so long, I don't know. He regularly let his fire go out. He was a character, but he made good boots.
Yes, he made good boots.